to be Kerry who will have the breeze behind them for the opening 35 minutes here. And a game that everybody has been looking forward to and anticipating for quite a long while. I know there was a lot of disquiet among the other four counties in Munster. The players there felt it should have been an open draw, not seeded. That'll be the case, I'm sure, from next year. But for now, the 2014 final involves the great old rivals themselves, Cork and Kerry. Kerry are the Munster champions from last year. A little bit of shouldering going on before it ever gets underway. The referee is Cormac Riley from Meath, and calling in there Fintan Gould and Anthony Marr. I would think it's the case of just throw the ball in and let them off. Referee checking on his watch again, and finally we do get underway. And it's Kerry who get the opening possession here, and that was Brian Sheehan coming back in there to take it. Fouled, free kick quickly in. Nicely controlled in there by Stephen O'Brien, playing his first Munster final. Robbed there, however, by Aidan Walsh. Went back, worked hard inside his own 45-metre line. Slipping there is Tom Clancy. There are two Tom Clancys in the Cork panel. He's the one who's starting. And the pile-up eventually, the referee says he eventually does blow his whistle, gives the free kick to Cork. And Aidan Walsh, this wonderful dual star, ready to take it. And the breeze whipping up a little bit, quite noticeably now. And it's into the face of the Cork players as Lockery gets it out here as far as John O'Rourke. Onto the 45-metre line. Summing up his options here. Against him is Donncha Walsh. This is Barry O'Driscoll. Back as far as Páirc. Cork are patient, deliberate in their approach. Tom Clancy back here as far as Aidan Walsh. Having a cut to try and get through here, get it onto his right, looking for the opening score, and he's got it. Beautifully done. 1 minute and 13 seconds. Aidan Walsh getting the opening point of this match.
Yeah, he brought order to the indecision that was going on with the Cork attack that time. Took responsibility, shot a very good opening score for Cork.
Well, under Brian Cuthbert, they have been playing very much more direct football than had been the case, I think, in recent years. Although under Conor Coonagh, it has to be pointed out, Cork won a trophy every season. Back here with James Lockery, the former Antrim player. Fintan Gould now. Cork establishing a firm platform in the middle of the park as Clancy sets it up here with Paul Kerrigan. Kerrigan taking off. After him goes Paul Murphy. Nice ball inside here. Barry O'Driscoll controlling it. Back in here as far as Daniel Goulding, whipping it off his left, and Goulding sees it strike the post and go over the bar conveniently. Point for Goulding, second one for Cork, and only 2 minutes are gone.
That's beautiful approach work that time by Cork, in particular by Barry O'Driscoll. Gives the pass eventually, and well flighted ball by Daniel Goulding. A very confident start, it must be said, by Cork.
Good start by Daniel Goulding. He is a birthday boy. He's 28 today. This to be kicked out by Brian Kelly, 24-year-old, member of the UCC team that won the Sigerson under Billy Morgan this year. Cork again win it. Aidan Walsh. Very slow, poor start, nervous start by Kerry. Cork retained the possession, and it's John O'Rourke once again here. Thought about the transfer to Páirc. Holds instead. Talented young player, second season. Here's Damien Cahalane on a ground where his dad Niall had so many good moments in Munster football finals in the past. This time the Kerry defenders try to win that ball from Brian Hurley. Hurley holds on too long, free kick. Hurley is going to have to take some watching from Kerry's point of view. Got 8 points against Kerry in the league back in April. This is Kerry's second attack now. James O'Donoghue, the current All-Star, surrounded immediately. Look at the intensity that Cork are bringing to their game. Referee seemed to blow his whistle, but Kerry continued. O'Donoghue kicks it and scores. For a moment there it looked like there was going to be a free out, but the referee said play on. James O'Donoghue did so.
Well, that time he got involved in some really vicious and abrasive tackling by the Cork lads. I don't know how he managed to get the ball back, but fair dues to him, he did. Went on to his weaker right foot, just slots it over the bar. That's a very good score for O'Donoghue, because quite honestly, Ger, I figured he was well and truly dispossessed.
I think there might have been a possible advantage as well going to Kerry that time. The referee correctly played on. Brian Sheehan neatly down in here as far as Paul Gainey. 6 points in the last match against Clare. Transferred here to Johnny Buckley. very, very quickly indeed. Kerry rattle off 2 points. That's a neat one by Johnny Buckley, and it's 2 points apiece.
Yeah, it must be said actually, Ger, that Kerry are playing with the benefit of quite a good wind at the moment, and that was indicated there by how easily Buckley was able to flight that ball over the bar.
Ken O'Halloran's kick reaches midfield. John O'Rourke reaches up, but Declan O'Sullivan takes it back here. Man from Drummond Pierces. Former All-Ireland winning captain, of course. Neatly in, just beyond James O'Donoghue. Kerry a little bit out of luck that time. Owen Callaghan gets a ball. It's a terrible ball given away here, and that ball should be put over the bar, but isn't. A missed opportunity. Well, there was a chance there for Stephen O'Brien, playing in his first major match here at Páirc. Played in the junior match 2 years ago, but that was a good chance right in front of the goal. Should have made it 3-2.
Yes, and he was in an area of the pitch too that he ought to be familiar with. I think he lined out at full forward the last day actually in the semi-final. Should have scored that.
Broken down here again, this time as far as John O'Rourke. Quick look up, movement ahead. Paul Kerrigan makes the run. Tracking him, Paul Murphy. Kerrigan trying to wrong foot the Rathmore player. Gets it back here as far as Cahalane. Into the corner here, work to do for Brian Hurley. Marking him, Shane Enright. Trying to go in along the end line here. One route blocked, and another one blocked by Donncha Walsh. Slip back in here dangerously, however. Barry O'Driscoll manages somehow to get the kick in, but the referee has blown his whistle because there was a sharp tug. He was giving an advantage, and it's going to be a free in instead. Chance for Cork to go back in front. That was dangerous. Very
dangerous. Wonderfully flight a ball over and well controlled, but okay, the initial pull just was outside the big, larger rectangle, and I suppose the 13-metre free ensues. But I thought for a moment actually it was a penalty.
Very close run thing. This is going to be taken once again by Daniel Goulding. And that's straight over, no problems whatsoever. So a second one for him today, and Cork back in front by 3 points to 2. Certainly every attack so far has virtually produced a score. This is where this drag down occurred here. And how close were Cork to getting a penalty?
Well, I think very, very close. Indeed, the lads, I'm sure, will go over that certainly with forensically tonight.
Broken down here to Anthony Marr. Marr beating the attempted block, but the referee has decided there was a foul by James Loughrey as that ball was being kicked away, and he's giving a free kick from where the ball has landed, which is inside the D. Chance for the teams to draw level again.
Back to me. Right.
Well, James Loughrey went in, tried to block, but the referee clearly saw the challenge coming in too late. So James O'Donoghue able to put this one over, and they go point for point. 3 points apiece, and 7.5 minutes are gone here. This is what happened again here. Yeah, it was just after he kicked that ball away. Referee got it spot on. Broken down again, and again it's Cork who are picking up the scraps here. Tom Clancy, there's always somebody loose. Aidan Walsh made a very good start to the match. In towards Hurley, and he's being marked there by Shane Enright. They had an awful lot of problems with him in the league. Enright given the task of looking after him in this match here. That's a big call by Eamon Fitzmaurice. So far it's worked out. Back come Cork again. Tom Clancy striding forward with great purpose. Quickly transferred here to O'Rourke. Held on to here by Paul Kerrigan. Slipped into the corner once again to Hurley. Brian Hurley. Enright blocks and does really well. He's made a good start to the match. Out to Paul Murphy. Back away by Fionn Fitzgerald. Forward again by Stephen O'Brien, and then kicked by Donncha Walsh. Down there towards the corner forward, Paul Gainey. UCC captain in the Sigerson. Goes this way and that against Owen Cadigan. Quickly transferred here to James O'Donoghue, scorer of 2-3 against Dublin in the All-Ireland semi-final last year. Was told him, runs into Donncha Walsh there. Dear oh dear, they had possession.
Yeah, that's excellent defending, I say, by Cork, you know, the way they crowded things out. But from the point of view of indecisive attacking, that's as bad as it can get for Kerry.
What about this for a block here, however? It was well done. Just by Shane Enright, kept his eye on the ball the whole time. Forward by Michael Shields, Cork's captain, given away to Fionn Fitzgerald, the Kerry captain. 30 metres out now and closing in on the 20-metre line. Lockery goes in, Fionn Fitzgerald holds possession, back there as well as Barry O'Driscoll, a multi-purpose player in this Cork team. Kicked back as far as Johnny Buckley, taken by Declan O'Sullivan, held by James O'Donoghue. Back again to the midfielder, and Buckley again has a go, but this one was always going away to the left-hand side, and it is a second wide by Kerry. Buckley, scorer of a point earlier on for the Kingdom, stays at 3 points apiece.
Yeah, a feature of that last couple of attacks by Kerry is the absence of support for the boy in possession of the ball, and that, you know, the half-forward line are playing very far back the pitch, and I felt that inside forwards on two occasions there got badly isolated.
You'll have seen from the flags on the ground there just how strong the wind is at this stage, so Kerry would need to be building up a lead, you would imagine, by half-time. Here's Aidan Walsh, kicked long, Kerrigan got a touch, Goulding carries it on, has a support player, doesn't need him, kicks it himself, and it's gone over the bar. No, it's not. The man on the left seemed to indicate it was. He's convinced it was as well. I'm absolutely certain the man on the left-hand side nodded for a point, but perhaps the man on the right-hand side felt he had a better view of that. Cormac Riley's the ultimate arbiter. Goulding is convinced.
Daniel Goulding, from the ball left his foot, was convinced that that ball had gone over the bar.
At the moment it's still deemed to be wide. If there's only a point in it at the finish, that will be debated. This is it again. Impossible to tell from that particular angle there.
Yeah, that's inconclusive, no doubt about it.
Stays at 3 points apiece. Kerry win it back here. Killian Young leaving it off as far as Brian Sheehan. Got an awful lot of injuries over the last few years. This is the flying Stephen O'Brien. Back as far as Donegal Walsh. Coming up to join the attack, Aidan O'Mahony, used to be left half back for so often, of course. Cork with just a two-man inside forward line, so that's about to come down. And now he's watching James O'Donoghue go this way and that against Michael Shields, make a better angle for himself. That was clever. Really good play. And a third point already by James O'Donoghue, two of them coming from open play. Kerry lead the match.
Yeah, he's so elusive and so difficult to pin down. I think Michael Shields is trying it this time. The fact that he's so natural on both feet is such a help to him. That time slotted over the ball effortlessly.
Again, the wind very noticeably holding the kick out there from Ken O'Halloran. Cork pick it up, however. Tom Clancy. This time John O'Rourke had two men to compete against. One back by Declan O'Sullivan. Aidan O'Mahony now, as he's done so often, almost nonchalantly carries it forward. Still managed to get it forward. He was fouled. The referee was giving an advantage, and now he does give the free kick for the foul on Brian Sheehan eventually.
Yeah, there was a double foul actually committed by Cork defenders in that case. Eventually, I think it was Brian Sheehan was fouled. Before that, Aidan O'Mahony. And as you said, Jerry, Aidan O'Mahony is playing it right up back, his old stomping ground. I expect him to be playing at full back, but he's very comfortable so far in this game.
First chance for a point for Brian Sheehan. He's kicked something like 36 points against Cork in 14 championship matches so far, won 7 of those. Always very good with free kicks, but this time he's missed it. At the distance, no trouble, but not quite the direction. Breeze was behind him. There's Eamon Fitzmaurice, always measured in his approach. Played in 8 Munster finals, won 7 of those, lost the last one back in 2006. O'Halloran ships it up into the air. Bodies colliding, and it was Aidan O'Mahony who's deemed to be the guilty party in that particular instance. Referee's calling him back.
Yes, it was John O'Rourke who was fouled that time as the ball was in flight, and I think Normandy will get a yellow as a consequence.
Nobody wants to see a yellow card, but he certainly would prefer a yellow to a black. Fitted Gould surrounded. Now the eagerness and the intensity is Kerry. Declan O'Sullivan now. Players in support. Breaking forward here once again, Stephen O'Brien. Solos. Then looks up. Picks out Paul Gainey. And Gainey manages to get enough space to get his kick in and put it over the bar. Vito and carrying into that. He's got a first point in this match. And that'll do his confidence a whole lot of good, playing in just his third ever championship match.
Yeah, those two guys actually, Stephen O'Brien and Gainey, are much smaller physically than the players that are being marked by. And I've no doubt about it that, you know, Cork defence will have to have a look at that and get tighter to them.
Well, you look at that foul there by Aidan O'Mahony. It's hard for the ordinary punter or pundit rather to going along to a match to see whether it's a black or yellow. But it's all to do with the deliberate action of the player fouling, and the referee is the one who's going to make his mind up as to whether it's deliberate or not. Fitted Gould. Again, challenged strongly here by Declan O'Sullivan, trying to keep him at bay. Tom Clancy. Kerry leading by 2. Win supported. Aidan Walsh. Lockery caught in, came back. This is John O'Rourke trying to measure this ball in as far as Brian Hurley, now trying to get the better of Shane Enright. Enright's done well so far, and his pressure on the ball that time was sufficient to make Hurley hurry the shot somewhat. Stays at 5-3.
Yeah, most extraordinary, Ger, is the number of Kerry players who are back in defence during that last Cork attack. Donegal Walsh is going back, the other wing forward, Stephen O'Brien is going back, and there are only 2 Kerry attackers in the Cork half of the field.
Well, it looks like there's a temporary substitution going to happen here, because Fintan Gould is making way, and coming on is number 21, who is Rory Dean. Rory Dean from a recently very successful Cork junior team. Killian Young now. Here's Declan O'Sullivan. Again, good movement ahead. Super movement there by Gainey. Got away from his man. Kicked with confidence. He's having a great start to this match. Kerry are certainly enjoying themselves at Páirc Uí
The space very well. Gainey's movement off the ball is superb. Uncaddigan isn't tight enough on him, and the delivery into him is quality, and that's a very good finish once more.
Some 10 minutes now since Cork scored. Meanwhile, Johnny Buckley has been lording it in midfield with good fielding like that one there. Cork go 3 behind. This is held on to here by Damien Cahalan. Pressure applied, but he manages to get the ball quickly forward to Dean, the substitute. Tom Clancy turning around, crowd wanting him to go forward, but he's being patient, and that patience might work out here. Dean giving a return ball to Clancy. They work it as far as Pa Kelly. Missed a lot of the last 12 months because of injuries. They were waiting for it there. Certainly Brian Hurley was waiting for it, not so much Shane Enright. Got in quickly. He'll be very pleased with the start he's made to this match, but he'll know that Hurley will take an awful lot of watching. Here's Paul Kerrigan, another very pacey player, able to cut through, able to finish. And this time, the umpire waving it wide. It's another missed opportunity. It's a third wide by Cork, trailing by 6 points to 3.
Yeah, and I question actually the quality of ball going through to Brian Hurley at the moment. He is their main outlet for scores, but most of the balls he's getting are right out on the sideline. That is making life very, very difficult for him.
So 11 and a half minutes then since Cork last scored in this match. Brian Kelly's kick out here was just about won by Anthony Marr, and then onto it came Killian Young in his 9th championship season. Donegal Walsh now back here as far as Declan O'Sullivan, playing back there in the middle of the park. They're leaving 2 men up front. Cork are bringing a sweeper back there. It's Dean. It's 3 against 2, but when one of the 2 happens to be James O'Donoghue, you know what kind of danger that spells. Controls it. There's an injury to one of the Cork players. Dean hits it. The umpires have a look at it and decided just wavered in the breeze somewhat and went wide. And one of the Cork players seems to be in considerable trouble here, I think it's the substitute Rory Dean who just came on a few minutes. He twisted his leg awkwardly there as he was pursuing James O'Donoghue, and I think they're going to have to change it quickly and get a stretcher on to get him off the park.
Poor lad's in agony after that. He went in to execute it. I think fell awkwardly. There was no malice whatsoever in the contact between the two players, but he's
just
in
a
a lot of
complete
trouble.
accident.
Yeah.
Colin Lane just attending to him there, the physio. Here he is, full of intensity and intent, and then you can see him just reacting and going over there in agony. Let's hope he's going to be okay. It will be well attended by the Cork medical personnel. Just a misfortunate moment for a young, talented player. Eamon Fitzmaurice will be pleased with the start his team has made. He's got most of the calls right so far. The matchups are good. There'll be a bit of concern for Brian Cuthbert, a man who's breathed life into Cork's football, I think, renewed life into their football since the start of this year. And number 9 is Fintan Gould, coming back as number 35 now. Clearly there was some blood on the old jersey.
Yes, it's very bad luck on Rory Dean, it must be said. He was in as a temporary substitute for Fintan Gould, but he just went down very awkwardly on his knee that time, it seems, and he's in a bit of bother.
Shocking to see anybody get injured on a football field in something as innocuous as that. And a player with a big future. Let's hope we see him back on the football field very, very quickly. Dr. Con Murphy in there with his back to us, just attending to Rory. And he will be taken off now to have that leg attended to immediately. Ken O'Halloran from Bishopstown. Second season in goal, big occasion for him, having taken over, of course, from a goalkeeper who was around for a long, long time.
Yeah, isn't it interesting, actually? An awful lot of the really bad injuries that you see in football are very often as a consequence of a very innocent coming together, so to speak. I've seen it so often over the years. And young Rory Dean, we wish him a speedy recovery from that, but he's in a lot of pain.
This is what happened earlier here to Fintan Gould. And clearly there was some accidental clash there as well. And a warm round of applause now for Rory Dean as he is stretchered off from Páirc and let's hope it's not a bad injury and he's able to get back into football very quickly. Kerry back on the attack once again. Anthony Marr kicking from inside the 45-metre line. That's a poor miss there by Anthony Marr. He was unchallenged really and should have been able to do an awful lot better. It's 5 wides. It's his 5th championship season and he's yet to lose a Munster final. So far going well with Kerry today, ahead by 6 points to 3.
Yes, Cork need to regain their composure at the moment. They're just a little bit rattled by that injury. They're a little bit loose. They're loose at the back, and Kerry are much more creative when they get the ball forward.
Well, it started with plenty of vim and vigour from both sides. Kerry now in the ascendancy, but Cork trying to break all that up a little bit. Barry O'Driscoll in here as far as John O'Rourke, able to take it back. Clancy calling for it. Aidan Walsh started this match like he was set to dominate the exchanges in midfield. And he has lost that ball, coughing it up here, and Brian Sheehan kicks it forward here accurately down as far as James O'Donoghue. Quick look at where the movement is, thought about the diagonal pass, holding it up instead for Johnny Buckley to come onto. Missed one a little while ago, having another go here, and why not? That persistence pays off, and he's kicked a second. 2 out of 3 isn't half bad, and Kerry lead by 4. He's a happy man.
Very happy man, just coming up nonchalantly on the shoulder. I think it was a Fionn Fitzgerald. Looks up, a little bit of pressure coming on him, but his confidence and his kicking ability, scores a good score.
Well, this was again where Aidan Walsh was maybe just lax and should have been a little quicker delivering that ball in. Earlier in the year, when they were in the Alliance League Division 1, Cork were playing a much more direct early ball in, but the breeze is a strong one today, and that's bound to be a factor. Declan O'Sullivan once again cutting it out this time. He is the architect of so many good moves. The referee saw the ball handled on the ground. He's given a free against Cork. James Lockery queries that one, but Cormac Riley from Meath is insistent that that's what he saw.
Yes, there's an element of indecision sweeping through the Cork team at the moment. There's
also an injury, by the way, to Brian Sheehan. Sorry, Martin. There he is. Sheehan has had so many injuries over recent times. The last thing you want to see is a really good player playing in his 50th championship match today, down once again. There have been a few showers here today, and
yes,
just wondering if the pitch is a little bit greasy.
Perhaps, yes, in particular, like it would have been a very firm underfoot, but there was a very heavy shower about 10 minutes from half-time of the minor match, and another, lighter one there recently, but we just might see it.
Here's what happened again here. He was jumping up into the air, and it was the way he came down. Dear, oh dear. He came down very awkwardly indeed, but he's able to get back on his feet, and he wants to continue, and that is a good sign. From the free, it's kicked and put wide by James O'Donoghue. Highly untypical. 3 points he has scored so far. Kerry are ahead by 7 points to 3, and we are 10 minutes to go to half-time. It hasn't exactly been blowing the lights out here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh so far. Cork have been cagey enough, have misplaced quite a few of their passes as well out of defence, and they'll be just wondering what the deficit should be at half-time, knowing they have the breeze behind them for the second half. Again, the wind holds it up quite noticeably here. Buckley took it initially, and then it was Brian Sheehan very happily recovered. That greater tenacity and cutting edge is coming from Kerry right now.
Oh, very much so. Cork have fallen asunder. I thought after 5 or 6 minutes we were going to have a classic of a game. Just watching this case here, Brian Sheehan just invites the tackle. The foul is conceded by Aidan Walsh, but at the moment Cork are in disarray. Kerry are missing a lot of easy opportunities and should be actually going further ahead, should be further ahead than the 4 points they are.
So this is Brian Sheehan's second kick. Missed the first one, and he had no intention of missing the second one. Not the kind of habit he wants to get. Not here in the Munster final, which he is really enjoying playing in. Big Kerry support here. Crowd of around 20-25,000 at Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and Kerry leading by 5. Cork goes short, and the referee wants to talk to a couple of players, having words there with Paul Gainey and also with Owen Cadigan. So everybody's happy, and they're all palsy-walsy. Well, kind of palsy-walsy.
There's no doubt about it, Jerry. You said in commentary the standard has dropped considerably in the last 10 minutes or so.
This is towards Aidan Walsh. He'll tip it down, but it's Kerry who are now picking up those crumbs. Walsh that time out as far as Young, looks up, sees movement from O'Donoghue. He fell, and the fell almost deceived Michael Shields, and in the end there's great composure by O'Donoghue. He really is an all-star. 4 points. This is a match winner if ever I saw one.
Oh yeah, but everything is to do with his movement. Beautiful kind of change of direction, leaves Michael Shields on his backside literally, and shoots another very good point. But just the Kerry, the instinctive forward play that is typical of the nation, of their county, is on evidence so often today.
Last year in Killarney it was Kerry who dominated the first half. Cork came back strongly in the second, but Cork have not now scored for 20 minutes of this Munster final. Donegal Walsh booting it in. Good accuracy again. Straight into the hands of Gainey. Again it moves inside here. Nobody able to mark this fellow. Oh, well stopped. James O'Donoghue going for a goal, and Ken O'Halloran got his body down smartly. But that is dangerous. And certainly Michael Shields is having a nightmare there against O'Donoghue. Breaking is Damien Cahalane. In here as far as Páirc Kelly. We've seen almost nothing of him so far. Forward there by Clancy, and Kerry have the numbers back. It's the movement of the Kerry players back and forth, led by Declan O'Sullivan, a 30-year-old warrior as he's been doing for so many seasons. This is his 12th championship campaign. There's Marco Shea there, out over the sideline.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen Mark involved today, but as you said rightly so, Jerry, it's the movement of the forward line off the ball and the ability of the outside players to connect with the inside forwards that is proving successful for Kerry.
There's Noel Galvin, first time he's been involved in the match as well. Páirc Kelly is going to take this free kick outside the 45-metre line, and a couple of players wrestling on the ground on the far side, and one of them is Paul Murphy. And the referee is going to go to his linesman over there and have a little word with him. Paul Kerrigan, I think the other one. They were marking one another anyway. Paul Murphy is right half back for Kerry. Now, what was happening there? What was the referee being told? And what will be the sanction for both players? Paul Murphy there, by the way, number 5, was told when he was under 18 he was too small to be a Kerry minor footballer. It's become a fine senior now. It ends with a handshake. It will be the first time that a footballer and even anybody was rejected by authority in the past, and it proved to be groundless in the end. That's Finted Gould. Clancy in here. Galvin now breaking. Back here again. And the referee saw the ball thrown towards Páirc Kelly and ends up being a free out. It's Paul Kerrigan was the recipient of the final pass there. This is the save again here, Martin.
Yeah, Donoghu's pass, she's so easy, and there was a possibility that time of a resistance-wrecking score from Donoghu. He should put that one away.
He almost tried to pass the ball beyond the goalkeeper into the corner. Didn't quite get the angles right, didn't get the pace of it right. Stephen O'Brien, lively, very competitive, very comfortable in the surroundings. Work here for Paul Gainey to do, rescues it from going out over the end line. Taking on Owen Cadigan next. Again, holds, waits. O'Donoghue always available, playing brilliantly. Back in here as far as O'Brien, and Stephen O'Brien hoping this one will go between the posts. And he splits the uprights brilliantly. He's got his first point. Scored 2 points here 2 summers ago for the Kerry juniors. Now he's a top-class senior, and he's made it 10-3. And Cork are in trouble.
Yeah, well, you have to credit Guinea that time at rescuing an impossible situation. Just going back to the save again. Ball was probably hit too easily that time by O'Donoghue, and O'Halloran had an easy enough save in the end. But Kerry inside forwards are playing havoc at the moment.
Well, it was a problem for Cork in recent years, their defence. And people were wondering to what extent the problems that existed then have been solved. It must also be said that Kerry have had similar kind of problems, but Cork haven't been able to win enough consistent ball to put the Kerry defence under any kind of examination so far. Not consistent examination anyway. Donncha Walsh, this time not even bending his back. Cadigan decides to play soccer with it and just boot it out. He's been watching the World Cup. Brian Cuthbert looks. There's a foul on Donncha Walsh. One of the elder Lemons is aware of this particular team, although he's only 29. Back in as far as Johnny Buckley. This saying, might even have been a goal there for Brian Sheehan. Gets a point instead to go with the point from a free earlier on, but that had real possibilities. The defence opened up, the movement was brilliant.
Too easy altogether once more for Kerry. Buckley has all the time in the world to set up Sheehan coming through unopposed and puts it over the bar, might have put it underneath. But Kerry are doing what they want to at the moment with Cork, and a lot of it is stemming from the inability of Cork to pick up ball around the middle of the field.
It's 11 points to 3. In truth, it could be 2-10 to 3 points at this stage. Sheehan well blocked this time by Aidan Walsh. Good timing, good courage shown. 3 minutes to go to half time. It's been Kerry's first half. Cork got the first couple of scores, but after that the men from the Kingdom firmly took a grip, and they haven't relinquished that grip since. And led by Declan O'Sullivan and James O'Donoghue, the positioning of the team is perfect so far. Experience in the key areas, dominating their patches. Still, Anthony Marr waiting, and look, finding the player inside perfectly. Paul Gainey. He's left his marker for dead. There was nothing Cadigan could do about it, and Gainey's got a third. They are absolutely ripping this Cork defence to shreds. They lead by 9, and they might be even further ahead. Possibly should be.
They should be indeed, Jaron. It's underpinned by a ruthlessness and a commitment to open football. Beautiful patience evident that time with the outside players. I think it was Sheehan. Wonderfully flighted ball, but the movement off the ball, I've said it a number of times, of the Kerry inside line is a joy to behold.
That's touched down as far as Tom Clancy. Tom from Clonakilty. Kerrigan. And he goes down in a heap. He looks injured. Kerry take off with Declan O'Sullivan. Again, back to challenges O'Rourke. But Kerry have that self-assurance to be able to hold on, withstand challenges. Kerrigan's still down, by the way, injured. Play continues. Declan O'Sullivan kicking it. And it's all going wonderfully well for the green and gold of Kerry so far. Declan O'Sullivan deserves that point. The fans who've come here in big numbers are very, very pleased.
Yeah, and Johnny Buckley, who felt was lucky enough to get into the team, has been the architect of a lot of these moves from a Kerry point of view, but Sullivan's accuracy from distance then, wonderful to witness.
His team is 10 points ahead. He could scarcely believe it, I'm sure, at this stage in the contest, with under a minute of play to go to half-time. There might be another few minutes added, of course, because of the misfortunate injury to Rory Dean. Páirc Kelly back here as far as Fintan Gould. Oh, the pass, I was going to say, sums up the way Cork have been playing for the last 20 minutes, but it does reach Brian Hurley. And that time, Kerry's defence strong, refusing to yield. Additional time will be 3 minutes. So Brian Hurley hasn't scored. None in the half-forward line for Cork has scored. Barry O'Driscoll hasn't scored. Daniel Goulding got 3, one of them from a free, but really only 3 points so far, and one scorer.
And the last score they got, actually, I think, was in the 6th minute.
In fact, I think I should amend that, because Daniel Goulding's third point wasn't counted. It didn't count, of course. It was waved wide. So 2 for him, I should say. Here he goes now. And that one is over the bar, so now he does have a third. 2 of them from frees. And Cork will feel a tiny bit better. 13 points to 4 behind, approaching half-time. 2 minutes to go to the break. Some of the selectors sitting up in the stand communicating with Brian Cuthbert. Not quite sure what they can come up with. Their deliberations will be interesting.
Very much so, but they need to get a grip around the middle of the field for starters, and their full back line has been destroyed throughout the half, and they need to get a grip at that as well.
Páirc Kelly kicking it on. Well, Kerry really did their homework well. They had identified areas of the field where they felt Cork were vulnerable, and indeed highly vulnerable. They won primary ball by bringing Declan O'Sullivan out to help Anthony Marr and Johnny Buckley. And when they got oceans of possession in midfield, it was that platform that enabled them to set up the chances at the other end. Winning this one back here, Daniel Goulding, but the referee says he does so unfairly against Mark O'Shea.
And you know, Jerry, we heard a lot about the intensity that this game often throws up, but Cork have brought no intensity to this game whatsoever, and that's an area that maybe that's the first principles that they have to establish at half-time.
Possibly, Martin, with the exception of the opening 90 seconds of the game. After that, Kerry responded and Cork never came back at them.
That's absolutely accurate, Ger.
Owen Cadigan. Oh, Cadigan again ruggedly taking it out. He was fouled and pushed by Paul Gainey, taking the free kick himself. Another 30 seconds or so to go. So 9 points between the teams. Páirc Kelly bringing the ball forward to Kerrigan. Wherever he goes, Paul Murphy goes as well. After him goes Brian Sheehan. It's still Kerrigan. Into a maze, back here to Gould. They need a score, Cork. Can he get it? He fists it strongly and it puts it over the bar. They've got a last couple of points now here to begin the comeback. They've a lot to do, but it's suddenly an 8-point game and it's not beyond them.
Well, fair play to Paul Kerrigan. He injected a bit of energy and a little bit of intensity into that last move, a bit of urgency into it, and maybe that can actually maybe inspire them for the second half. But they need a big upping of the performance if they're to get back at Kerry.
Referee waiting for the ball to be kicked out, then he blows his whistle. Those last 2 Cork points, a point from a free by Goulding and Gould with a 1 from play. But James O'Donoghue, the star of the show so far, scoring 4 points, 3 of them from open play. Paul Gainey getting 3 as well, and of course Declan O'Sullivan pulling the strings. At half-time it's Kerry 13 points, Cork 5. We're back after this.
There are many strange birds in the world, but none are stranger than blue.
I hate samba. Awkward. Every song sounds the same. Tico taco ya ya ya. Tico taco ya ya ya.
Bobo here can't fly.
But he's a bird.
Not all birds fly.
Don't worry, Blue. It's in your DNA. Fun, right?
Yeah. Fun. This is incredible.
The Big Big Movie, Rio, Saturday at 7:05 on RTE1 and RTE1 HD.
Rise for your county. Stand up for your colours. Shout for your team. Make your shout count at aircom.ie/GAA. Aircom. All together now.
Páirc Hotel. Indulge your wildest dreams.
Wouldn't it be great if you could just touch a weed to kill it? Well, you can, with Roundup Gel. It's so precise you won't harm nearby plants or soil. A touch kills the weed down to the root, so it won't grow back. Roundup Gel. A touch is all it takes.
Introducing the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, Ireland's first plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. The fusion of electric and petrol technology could achieve a staggering 148 miles per gallon, with a fraction of the CO2 emissions of even a conventional small car, resulting in just €170 annual road tax. We haven't just made an SUV, we've made history.
So, there's a heatwave on the way.
A good excuse to go get some ice cream.
So welcome to Silver Pale Dairy. Let's go and see how cream for Aldi. This is where it all starts with these lovely cows, and they produce the 100% Irish milk which goes into our ice cream. We're here based in Fermoy in County Cork, and the factory was started 30 years ago by my dad. We employ over 100 people from the surrounding towns and villages. Hide it, hide it.
I think it's time for a little bit of quality control.
We definitely appreciate a rich, creamy ice cream here in Ireland.
That's gorgeous.
Well, Derek, what do you predict for the weather this summer?
The sunshine is out, temperatures are up, and I predict a heatwave for this summer. Trust me, I'm a weatherman.
Shoot.
Follow the action across the world, live and on demand with GAA Go.
Welcome back to Páirc Chaoimh. Kerry lead Cork by 13 points to 5 at half-time in the 2014 Munster Senior Football Final. I'm joined here at pitch side by Colm and Kieran. Here are the numbers, the key numbers from the first half, and well, the scoreline will make very happy reading for the Kingdom, not so happy for the Rebels of Cork as they trailed by 8. Colm and Kieran here with me. Colm, are you surprised it's been so comfortable for Kerry?
Yeah, really, Kerry should have the game beyond reach at this stage. After 10 minutes, I thought it was going to be a brilliant game. The first 10 minutes were fast and open. And once Kerry got into a system of play where Declan O'Sullivan has hung back as a sort of a sweeper around the middle of the field, not back in his own defence so much, but sweeping around the middle of the field. And then all the Cork kick-outs seem to go towards their right half-back position there for quite a while, where Anthony Buckley has dominated. So Cork then have got caught in this sort of lateral play, which we thought had gone with Brian Cuthbert, but Kerry have jammed up their backline, have broken quickly, and they seem to be able to produce these corner forwards out of a hat every year. Paul Ganey, Stephen O'Brien in the Gooch's sort of shape and make, and winning everything. And we see here after 10 minutes James O'Donoghue, who has been given the whole Cork backline a ragged time, and Paul Ganey then with a couple of brilliant points. But the thing about it is, around the middle of the field, Kerry are given in fantastic ball to their inside forwards, and there's great movement off the ball, whereas at the other end of the field it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah, a lot of it, Dara, is coming from domination, you know, and I feel, I mean, Killarney from last year, it's taken the identical path to the game, you know. Kerry have absolutely blitzed them, you know. How do you get your inside forward line working? You get a platform in midfield, you know. And before this game, I was looking at Ken O'Halloran went short on a lot of his kick-outs in the game against Tipperary, and it was like Cork were trying something. They're trying to get the ball out quick, that they didn't trust their midfield. He's gone long. He doesn't have a strong kick-out into the wind, and they have struggled badly. They don't have Fintan Gould and Aidan Walsh. They're good ball players on the ground, but their primary role should be to win that ball in the air, and Kerry are blitzing them across that middle section.
And we mentioned before the match about players stepping up, and James O'Donoghue was the one that the two of you singled out. But let's talk about Johnny Buckley.
Yeah, a lot of people question Johnny Buckley's selection when the team was named during the week, but he's playing out on Damien Cahalane, and you can see Damien Cahalane doesn't have a lot of football. He's obviously been tied up with the hurlers, and that short kick out that is going out to the right, he has picked up, you know, he's scored 2 points, but he's been instrumental in, you know, he fielded that ball and he finished it off by kicking it over the bar. You know, here's a great catch. You know, he's coming in from that half forward position, and Cahalane's not able to cope with him. Here's one that he bats down, and again that results in a Kerry score. And he comes on the loop here from 50 yards, a great score with the wind over the bar. So across that, they move Sheehan to midfield, they put Buckley out at left half forward. Cahalane doesn't have much football played, and Kerry have exposed a weakness there with Cork.
And Eamon Fitzmaurice has got the matchups, the crucial ones, right, just
yeah,
right.
Absolutely. I think particularly in the back line, Kerrigan started at full forward and he went out, and young Murphy went out after him, but Brian Hurley, who is their key marksman, Shane Enright has taken him up in the full back line. He's kept him scoreless in that half. You know, we see a great block coming here from Enright, and again it comes down to the tactics. Cork haven't made any changes in their forward line. They haven't switched anybody. They haven't tried to get any of their key players into the game, and they're making it very, very comfortable now, except that they are playing into a breeze, and it is slowing up Cork's momentum, and they can't get fast ball in. But again, the Kerry defence have been comfortably on top. You saw Cork have gone 30 minutes without a score, and to be honest with you, Dara, it's very frustrating watching Cork. It was very frustrating watching Cork for the last 3 or 4 years. We expected, following their league campaign this year, that they had evolved and they were playing a nicer brand of football, but they don't look to have changed a whole lot, and they're still very, very frustrated. They do have the breeze, but they have to improve radically in the second half.
Yeah, we wonder if it's an 8-point breeze, because that is the margin between the two counties ahead of the start of the second half, and that was Declan O'Sullivan finishing off that.
He has played a key role. Yeah. People at home may not realise, you know, they're normally used to seeing Declan O'Sullivan attack. Well, he obviously has been disciplined into a role of just staying around the middle of the field.
OK, guys, thanks very much indeed. Kerry are in charge at half-time. Still 35 minutes of football to come. Join us again at Páirc Chaoimh in a couple of moments' time.
Super Value, supporting hundreds of grassroots clubs and proud sponsors of the GA Football Senior Championship.
Your job is to protect everyone.
Finch, we're not great for a reason. We have a big problem.
What could he have that she would want?
No one in my group will handle the security on this.
Person of Interest, the new series starts Monday at 9 on RTE2.
Irish women are going places. Sure, we've all heard the jokes about parallel parking and the rest.
But we're saying cheerio to cliché, so long to stereotype.
We know we drive more safely than guys, sometimes in some pretty challenging footwear.
We're not afraid to ask for directions. And so what if I want to give my car a name?
So whether we're heading to Mayo or Rio, we all want to protect what's precious to us. It's for women going places.
It's for women.ie, online insurance for women.
Get a free Sky Plus box when you join Sky TV, Ireland's #1 digital TV provider, and enjoy a world of entertainment that revolves around you. There are all your favourite Irish and UK channels, exclusive shows on Sky Atlantic and Sky Go, so you can watch great TV wherever and whenever you want. That's a free Sky Plus box with all your favourite Irish and UK channels, exclusive Sky Atlantic and Sky Go. Call 0818 71 6000. That's 0818 71 6000. Sky. Believe in better.
This summer, wherever it takes you, take Tesco. Picnic at the beach? This lot will hit the spot, especially after a dip. Lying out at lunch? Grab and go it is so. And for those quick, the sun's still out barbecues, savour that sizzle. And the late night kickoffs. Remember the summer of 14. Tesco. Every little helps.
We interrupt this commercial with an important announcement from the Ministry of Finance. Get a brand spanking new Mini from just €199 per month, only at the Mini Summer Sales event this July.
Specsavers are a nationwide provider of hearing aids. Yes, you did hear correctly. Hearing aids, just like this one. It's made by one of the world's leading manufacturers. As well as a free hearing test, we provide full free aftercare. And what's more, if you buy your hearing aids from Specsavers, we'll give you free glasses too. Call or book online today.
Nice.
The scene is set at Croke Park for this afternoon's Leinster Senior Hurling Final. And of course, the fans have been steadily making their way into the stadium. And a reminder that we will have live coverage of that match here on RTE from 4 o'clock. And just looking further ahead, tonight's edition of the Sunday game will include the hurling qualifier between Tipperary and Galway and Clare's dramatic encounter with Wexford. And the programme is back to its usual slot of 9:30 tonight on RTE2. However, for the moment here on our live show, all eyes are on Páirc Chaoimh, so let's head back to Cork for the second half of the Munster football final and rejoin Dara Maloney.
Michael, thank you. Welcome back to Cork. Kerry leading by 13 points to 5 at half-time. And Colm, they got the last 2 points Cork did of the first half. That'll give them some hope. The wind as well. It could have been worse, though, for Cork.
It could have been, and it was a half an hour between, I think, Cork's third point and the fourth point. But here we see the pass and move of the Kerry forward line, which is brilliant. Ball from Donegal-Walsh into Buckley, and Sheehan should have really buried that one in the net. But to look at the room, but the Cork backs don't seem to be getting tight enough to their men. Maybe it's just that the Kerry forwards are so fleet of foot, and we've become used to that type of beautiful movement by the Kerry forwards. And at the other end of the field, it hasn't been replicated. Cork forwards seem to be running into cul-de-sacs. I think it's down to the Kerry tactics. But last year's Munster final, Kieran mentioned it, when it came to half-time, we had a very similar situation. And then Cork let in a few high balls and caused a bit of consternation in the Kerry backline. I think they'll do something like that today, because if Cork lose playing like this, they would not like to be meeting anybody in a qualifier round. They need to get something out of this game. They haven't got anything out of the first half.
Colin, would you go along with that? Is that what you'd be advising?
Yeah, well, certainly in that second half they bombarded the full back line, and I think they need a goal. They're going to need a goal really to get back into this game. But last year they also had Alan O'Connor and Pearson O'Neill to come into the middle of the park, and Alan O'Connor took over that period. They moved Walsh on to Killian Young at centre forward. He was very good there. They don't have those options there on the bench. They don't have the players to come in, but where Kerry have Moran, they've Donaghy, they can bring in, they've Darren O'Sullivan. The Kerry bench looks stronger, so they're going to have to hope that they get a goal, and the wind will certainly help them, but they have to up the intensity right throughout the team.
The best goal scorer on the Cork team would probably be Colm O'Neill, and he probably will make an entrance fairly quickly. A lot of the Cork forwards are not cutting the mustard at all today. Maybe Mark Collins will be brought in there, but the single biggest problem Cork have is they're not able to get any breaks around the middle of the field. They've no platform. Now, if they put the pressure on Kerry and force Kerry to kick out the ball, the midfielders can come and punch down to their own forwards, and it might make a bit of a difference. Cork need to get a couple of points in the first 5 minutes of the half to mount a challenge.
Because Kieran, an 8-point win is a big win.
It is a big win, yeah, it is, but these games can be turned by a goal. You get a goal and all of a sudden you're back 4 or 5 points. There could be 20 minutes left and you have that bit of momentum. So you can never rule it out, but I just think they've probably left themselves too much to do, and the options that Kerry have to come off the bench to ignite them in that third quarter and down the final stretch are better.
Kieran and Colm, thanks very much indeed. Let's head back to our commentary team. We'll go back to Martin and Ger for the second half.
Thanks indeed, Darragh. That's Colm O'Driscoll, who has just come on for Cork, playing in his first Munster senior final. He's come on for John O'Rourke, and Colm O'Neill you just saw as well there. He's come on for Páirc Kelly. So the two wing forwards have been taken off by Cork, and they bring on Colm O'Neill, who, by the way, when he came on against Kerry in the league, very first touch during the second half, back of the net is where it ended up.
Yeah, and an interesting switch also is the fact that they've put Paul Kerrigan in at full forward, Hurley in the corner, and Colm O'Neill in his normal right corner forward position.
Well, Kerrigan started the match there as well. Referee Cormac Riley was set to get the second half underway. 8 points between them. Let's see what develops here in this 2012 Munster football final. It's very much advantage Kerry. And Anthony Marr once again picking it up in midfield, where Cork were really blitzed for most of that first half. Declan O'Sullivan again starting deep, leaving it on for Killian Young. Good to see him back, showing great pace, a good penetrating run, but backtracking him was Aidan Walsh. Kerry felt he was fouling him. The referee was right behind Aidan Walsh and felt the intervention, the defensive work by Walsh was exemplary. No free kick given. Cork get the opportunity to carry it down. Barry O'Driscoll leaving it a little bit short there. Onto it comes Tom Clancy. Taken by O'Driscoll. Back here again it comes. Booted in by Noel Galvin this time. That's the kind of ball they were looking for. But the brakes come down, and this time there is a trip. And it's Colm O'Neill who goes a tumble. And it's got to be a free in. It's just outside the square. So it's going to be a free from the 20-metre line. And the tactics straight away, pretty obvious. Hit it in as far as Brian Hurley and let the others pick up the brakes.
Yeah, I think it's a soft enough free, and it must be said. And on the other side, when Killian Young was going forward, he felt he was fouled by Aidan Walsh. But I thought, in fairness, Aidan Walsh got back and dispossessed him fairly.
Well, this will be Brian Hurley's first score of the match. His brothers starred in the minor match, although they lost in that game. Also playing at number 14, and he's got his first here of this afternoon's final. So now it's 13 points to 6. You heard reference there to last year and how similar this game seemed to be so far. You should remember, of course, Kieran Sheehan came on at half-time in that match, and they were bombing the ball towards him at full forward, and he was winning an awful lot and making a big difference. He's now playing in Australia. But of course also missing is the Munster final. Well, the Prince is missing from this Munster final. Colm Cooper also recovering from injury at this stage. From this kick out, it's gathered in here by a very determined Fintan Gould, and Gould is certainly pumped up. You can be sure that the Cork management team will have had plenty of words of encouragement for their teams. Kerry protested, the ball's brought forward 13 metres, and now it's very, very kickable, and all of a sudden Cork can be within 6 points of Kerry, and it doesn't seem all that terribly bad from a Cork point of view within 2.5 minutes of the restart.
Oh, that's the longest 13 metres I've ever seen, Jared. The foul occurred out in the 45-metre line, as well inside the D the kick has been taken from.
Daniel Goulding with 2 points from frees so far, 3 in all, and this one straight over. So it's a very positive start to the second half by the home team here. Now, what will the Kerry response be? They will probably feel that those free kicks were a little bit on the soft side.
Yeah, but encouraging from a Cork point of view, they've got the last 4 scores. They've started very well. Fintan Gould in particular has come out of that dressing room spitting fire.
Brian Kelly's kick out to midfield, broken down again. Gould goes after it. Aidan Walsh, who started like he was going to take this game by the scruff of the neck. Ball handled, well, it was a foul there anyway, so it's a free to Cork. Out here as far as Owen Cadigan. Down into the corner, O'Neill spells danger. Mark O'Shea's his marker. Mark had it pretty easy in the first half, nothing coming in there. Little block on it, fumble there, and that one has gone for a 45, went off the chest of Killian Young. So another opportunity for Cork to put over a score here, and all of this inside the opening 5 minutes of the second half. Mark O'Shea just got the fingertips to that one there, took a little bit out of it. I think Killian Young wasn't expecting it, came off his chest.
Yeah, Colin O'Driscoll went for it along with Killian Young, but Colin O'Driscoll got his fist to the ball, but it came off Young's chest, and it was the correct decision by the referee and umpire.
Cork fans will remember Daniel Goulding in the 2010 All-Ireland final against Down, and all those 45 and long-range frees that he took that day. This is an important one. This to further eat into Kerry's lead, and he's got another one. 5 for Goulding. The manager, Brian Cuthbert, looks a good deal more satisfied at this stage and probably more relieved as well. Only 5 points between them.
Yeah, well, there's a bit more pace and energy about the Cork team in the beginning of the second half. It wouldn't be hard to have a little bit more energy. But there's a few questions that have been asked of Kerry. Let's see how they respond.
Referee went into Brian Kelly, the goalkeeper, there to tell him just to hurry up the kickouts a little bit better. This is out to Mark O'Shea. Back to Fionn Fitzgerald. Now picking it up, Killian Young. Bottled up because Cork are challenging with great intensity, and that time too much intensity by Paul Kerrigan. He caught the Kerry player. Fionn Fitzgerald will be hoping to lift the Munster Cup at the end of the 70 minutes. Down there, a ball to chase for Stephen O'Brien. Suddenly Noel Galvin's in there behind him. Ball spills loose. Aidan O'Mahony playing it forward here as far as Donncha Walsh. Coming out for it here, Paul Gainey taking off. James Lochry's on him at this stage, still driving in. The hand of Lochry coming in, touching it, and it's gone for a 45. So a 45 for each team at either end, right at the very beginning of this second half.
Yeah, Lochry stuck to his tack very well that time. Gainey trying to get inside him, but Lochry deflects it out for the 45. But that's good marking, you know, for a change. It's a huge contrast to the looseness that was in the Cork defence in the first half.
He'll be hoping that Kerry can now get the next score. This 45 to be taken by Brian Sheehan. 2 points from the first half. Taking his time over this one. Centrally positioned. Breeze still blowing into his face against Kerry for the second half. Trying to curl it inside. He got enough on it. He got the direction right. Beautifully over. A third for Brian Sheehan. So 2 converted 45s. 6 points between the teams once again.
Yeah, that's beautiful technique. He drew the ball in, I'd say about 10 metres actually as he struck that. That's wonderfully kicked into the wind.
Any goal chances have come the team's way so far have been to Kerry in the first half. 2 really good goal chances, neither taken. Declan O'Sullivan again, hoping to be a major influence around midfield. Very much playing it here and there. James O'Donoghue into Walsh, back out again here. Stephen O'Brien now driving hard. So near the large rectangle there. It's going to be a free from 13 metres. Did what he had to do, head down, showed great determination and a willingness to take on the Cork backs. And the referee points once again for a free kick.
Yeah, but the variation in attacking options that Kerry have is a way in contrast to what Cork have. That time I felt, he just took on his defence, drew the free, and an easy enough one now for James O'Donoghue.
I think it was the hand of Noel Galvin who actually caught him going through that time. So James O'Donoghue from the Legion in Killarney, booting it over. So 5 for the day so far. Thoroughly satisfying performance. Playing in just his 14th championship match. It seems like he's been around for a long, long time. Richly talented corner forward. O'Halloran, win supported, won well in the air by Brian Sheehan. Back it comes to Johnny Buckley. Taking it forward here now, Killian Young, drilling it with that left boot into the inside forwards. O'Donoghue fumbles, then gets a favourable bounce that came from Shields back to O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue laying it off here. Oh, hits the crossbar. Stephen O'Brien with the shot. Comes back out to Donncha Walsh. Calling for it once again, Paul Gainey. And Gainey lets it off, but puts the ball wide. A real let-off for Cork that time. Kerry so near to getting the first goal of this match. Their third goal chance, really.
Yeah, third goal chance. Donoghue, I think at that time, let it off to O'Brien. O'Brien rattled the crossbar with it. But all of that came from a wonderful piece of fielding by Sheehan in the middle of the field.
This time the kick out is deliberate, right into the hands there of Fintan Gould. Clancy helps it out here as far as Colm O'Neill, or rather Colm O'Driscoll. One of two columns to come on at half-time. Here's the other one. This time he boots it in. O'Neill fumbled, but then recovered by Mark O'Shea, showing great awareness, great coolness. Remember the point he got at the end of the Munster semi-final against Cork here in 2010, took the match to extra time that afternoon. Jack O'Connor was the boss then. He was in charge of the minors today. Fionn Fitzgerald, Brian Sheehan. O'Sullivan now, change of direction quickly, holds it up. He just shows such wonderful awareness and confidence in his play. Kerry are looking very confident right throughout the field. The passes are perfect. Once again, head down. And it's still there, and the chance availed of brilliantly. He's having a field day, James O'Donoghue. And there is nothing really that any of the backs, in particular Michael Shields, is able to do about it. And the bearded number 2 is struggling to keep up with O'Donoghue.
Yeah, with the clinical execution that time by O'Donoghue, it's just a joy to watch. But the patient build-up for Kerry continued until such times as O'Donoghue got free, and then there was a quality inside ball given.
Mark Collins has come on in place of Barry O'Driscoll, and these are some of the subs that might have been anticipated to start the game. That ball running and running. Eventually the linesman here has his flag raised because there was a push. James Lockery is protesting about that one. Was right down in the corner there at what we might call the marquee side of Páirc Uí Chaoimh at this stage. Look at them again here. Paul Gainey helped out that time, the referee has decided, by James Lockery. So Kerry get the opportunity to plant this ball back in towards the Cork goal once again. It'll be Brian Sheehan who will attempt to put it over the bar. The angle's almost impossible, you would think, for most mere mortals. But with Brian Sheehan, you never know. There's the strength of the breeze there in the background you saw for a moment. And that is angle. He's got it. It's an amazing kick on what is turning out to be a wonderful day for Kerry. A great response to what Cork had been doing at the beginning of the second half. A fourth for Brian Sheehan. An amazing free kick from a very, very tight and tricky angle. 9 between them again.
That flawless technique stands to him. Boy, is he happy about it. That's delightful to watch.
Owen Cadigan picking this one up. Part of that beleaguered defence all the way down as far as Mark Collins. He'd have been very disappointed not to start. Played in most of the league matches. This time Hurley falls over, helped, the referee has decided, and it's got to be a free into Cork. Just outside the 20-metre line, Brian Hurley's only scored so far a point from a free kick at the very beginning of this half. And this is a man who got 8 points when the teams met in April in the league, and 7 of those 8 points were from open play. There was nobody able to mark him that day. Crowd silent somewhat. They need something to cheer about. They need something to get behind. And he's put this one over. 2-pointed freeze.
Yes, noticeable actually with some of the Cork attacks. They have decided to let long, high balls into the Kerry full back line in the hope that they can, you know, in some way undermine Mark O'Shea and Shane Enright. But they haven't had enough ball around the middle of the field to actually execute that tactic on a consistent basis.
It's as you were at half-time. Kerry still ahead by 8. Cork coming again. O'Driscoll back as far as Cadigan. They want to press forward now as much as they possibly can. Leave it off up into the air and hope that something positive will respond. But it was fumbled by Walsh, taken out by Brian Sheehan. I'm sure people will question afterwards whether or not the 3 players who are playing hurling and football are able to play at the highest level that they need to be to win Munster Championship finals. Stephen O'Brien coming forward, wriggling his way in. That's great ball carrying ability. And in the end, O'Donoghue, he is the tormentor. What a performance. Well, this will be remembered as the James O'Donoghue Munster final. It's been sensational.
It's been sensational, and the hard carrying was done that time by Stephen O'Brien, but the final ball was put over the bar delightfully by Donoghue. He's having some performance.
Aidan O'Mahony has gone off, Peter Crowley has come on. Once again, it is Declan O'Sullivan. holding. Nobody able to touch this man, nobody able to dispossess him. Just carries, almost playing with the Cork defence on occasions. Donncha Walsh didn't need to go for a goal that time. Very happy just to kick it over the bar. His last goal was in Croke Park, one of the three, of course, that Kerry got that day against Dublin.
Yeah, and just watch it again. You talked a couple of moments ago about the unfairness maybe evident in asking Aidan Walsh to play at the top level in football as well. He has looked very, very tired after about 15 minutes of this game, and the tiredness was evident in that tackling or attempt to tackle young Walsh, or Donncha Walsh, as he put the ball over the bar.
Jamie O'Sullivan is the next one who's going to come in for Cork, number 17. Tom Clancy receiving the attention. Cramp setting in at this stage, just 50 minutes in. Hasn't been a good afternoon so far for the Cork team and their management team as well. Looks like Tom Clancy is going to be unable to continue, and on comes Jamie O'Sullivan. He is the fourth sub in. Rory Dean, who went off injured, was a temporary sub, came on at one stage for Fintan Gould, only on for about 5 minutes before he sustained his injury. It's a good bit of fielding there by Walsh. He drops it. He was thinking of his next move, I think. He's annoyed with himself. Should have held on to it. He's a great competitor, great sportsman, Aidan Walsh. Once again, Declan O'Sullivan. Once again, carrying it in almost, as I mentioned, toying with opponents. Just shows great self-awareness, self-assurance. Cleverly in. The quality of that ball in, time and again. There's nothing the Cork backs can do about it. And Peter Crowley leaves it short. Ken O'Halloran. Well, 10 points adrift. Mark Collins. Jamie O'Sullivan now. Quarter of an hour played in the second half. Declan O'Sullivan. That is a good indicator of that, how much this match means to Declan O'Sullivan. He's got plenty of Munster medals in his pocket, but he wants another one. He was determined. Up again as far as James O'Donoghue. Cleverly in, 1 against 2, it doesn't matter. Paul Gainey, well blocked. That was well done. Out came Cadigan at the end. Referee blows his whistle, however. And I think James Lockery may be the one who gave away the free at the very end of that. Play continues. Anthony Marr boots it in. And Cork players thought there was going to be a free kick there. They were stopped all of a sudden.
Well, I thought there was a free kick in, actually. That never happened. But it's just the interplay again between Paul Gainey and James Donoghue's at the highest standard. They find each other so effortlessly.
Here's Darren O'Sullivan, former Kerry captain, and he's come on for Stephen O'Brien. Well, he's had a lot of injury difficulties, hamstring problems and so on. Again, it's Kerry absolutely and utterly dominant. Darren O'Sullivan. A quick change of direction. If it's not bad enough for the Cork backs, now they have to deal with his pace, and the finishing of Killian Young isn't the greatest. Ken O'Halloran.
That's the second ball in a short space of time that has dropped short. That'll disappoint the Kerry lads.
19 points conceded by Cork after 52 minutes. Sounds almost like a hurling score. And of course, the hurling final here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh next Sunday afternoon, which you'll be able to see on the Sunday Game Live. Fionn Fitzgerald in right now. They're working really hard. They're not resting on their laurels. They've never given up. They've got that pep in their steps, Kerry. Sheehan, all good players. Who could possibly have doubted the quality of this Kerry team in advance of this match? There was so much there. Players have won Munster titles. They're the Munster champions from last year, remember? Brian Hurley. Down to Paul Kerrigan. Trying to get away into midfield to get some pace and get some ball and get away from Declan O'Sullivan. Showing his pace now. Held on to here by Mark Collins. Looking for an angle to try and hit a point in here, and maybe a goal. What a brilliant take that was by Brian Kelly. That was a wonderful save by Brian Kelly. from the Legion in Killarney. That's the club, of course, that gave us the great Johnny Cullity in the past. Johnny, who played 44 times in the championship. 12 of those were Munster finals, 10-1. Looks like Brian Kelly's going to be the next from Legion, the next goalkeeper to get a winner's medal. Wonderfully held. Shane Enright. Donncha Walsh now. Back here in the middle is Anthony Marr. It's like there's only one team on the field. Darren O'Sullivan. Johnny Buckley after him. Booted forward by Donncha Walsh. And this time the arm of Owen Cadigan catching corner forward James O'Donoghue. And the referee is going to have a little word.
Well, in fairness, both of them went for the ball. Cadigan caught him across the head, probably will get a yellow card for it. But what was interesting was watching the movement of Donoghue inside that time, as both Cadigan and Noel Galvin were attempting to double team him. And yet, who was the one that got first to the ball? It was Donoghue.
2 yellow cards issued in this match by the referee, both cards going to the number 3s. Owen Cadigan following Aidan O'Mahony. Plenty of sunshine around right now, but the sun, which is helping essentially to illuminate the tremendous Kerry performance against what has been a very, very poor Cork effort so far.
Very much so. Like, on the one hand, you have a very energetic performance by Kerry and a wonderful display by the full forward line. But Cork, amazingly, have been bankrupt. It has been a hugely disappointing underperformance by them. And after the first 10 minutes or so, everything about them unravelled. And even though they did start the second half very well, nothing materially has really improved.
From Declan O'Sullivan to Johnny Buckley. And another one has gone over. 3 for Johnny Buckley. Who could have doubted the wisdom of starting him in midfield alongside Anthony Marr, where they have absolutely lorded it over Cork. And there's going to be another change now, because David Moran is going to come on into midfield. Very unlucky not to start. There's David Moran, man who's been plagued with cruciate injuries in recent years. And he's come on in place of Brian Sheehan, who got that wonderful ovation as he made his way off.
Yeah, I'm delighted to see David Moore getting injured. I mean, when you're bringing this up nowadays, it's not alone to sustain the effort, but to improve it and to maintain the rhythms of what has come there before. And I've no doubt about it that David Moore can keep things going for Kerry.
John Hayes has just come in. That's Cork's final sub. They need goals. They need a massive miracle. They've got a point from Daniel Goulding in the meantime. 6 for him. 20-10. The score, not the time. Well, there's still, the bones of 15 minutes to play in this. That's John Hayes, who was missing from the Cork scene for a few years, but he's come back strongly during the league and now in the championship team as well. Fionn Fitzgerald. Killian Young. Again, Darren O'Sullivan ready to dart forward. Johnny Buckley. Darren O'Sullivan continued his run. Buckley just holds on to it, shrugs aside the challenge nonchalantly and kicks it over as though the challenge wasn't there. He just dispensed with the man who was marking him like a rag doll that time. 4 points for Buckley. Just cast him aside, and that's Owen Cadigan I'm talking about.
Yeah, he just went right through him. But just go back to the kick out, actually, and Moran's fetch was just a thing of delight. Wonderful fetch by David Moran.
Michael Shields kicks it down. Well, it's an impossible ball to keep in play, I think. Or has he done so? He's almost done so. That was Colm O'Neill. Had a lot to do, and Mark O'Shea pinches it from him. Paul Murphy plays it back in here as far as Peter Crowley. And Declan O'Sullivan, very much the general of the team, back there helping out, always available to take a pass. Here he is again, looking so relaxed and so comfortable. And this is a Munster final when they should be put to the pin of their collar, but here they are playing at Páirc Uí Chaoimh, set to beat Cork in their home patch at a Munster final for the first time since 2005. And O'Donoghue, they can only just stand back and admire what an absolutely brilliant performance this is. 8 for him, 22 for Kerry. the cup is as good as won.
Yes, and the sweep went the length of the field. Mark O'Shea doing the intercept down in the corner. Beautiful movement of the ball up the field, and O'Donoghue just puts the finishing touch to it.
This one down, judged well by Brian Hurley. Nice ball by Collins into him, taking off Enright. And again, the goalkeeper makes a save and is lucky that it got into Kerry hands after that. But Brian Kelly is determined, just like Ken O'Halloran, to keep his goal intact. Donegal Walsh, again, letting himself into space there and touching it on. Darren O'Sullivan, a bit injury in that performance so far. And James O'Donoghue. His marker now is James Lockery. Somehow he managed to get it between the uprights for a ninth. The Cork defenders are going to have nightmares about this man.
Well, this is an exhibition of football by O'Donoghue. It's one of the best forward displays I've ever seen, and this is in the Kerry forward line that has been shorn of the services of the great Colm Cooper.
Absolutely. You can only imagine what it would be if Cooper were pulling the strings. Anthony Marr. 13 points between the teams, 10 minutes to go. And Cork a well-beaten docket. Paul Murphy. Jinx this way and that. O'Donoghue now decides he'll come out and just take a breather, leave it to somebody else. Declan O'Sullivan moves inside instead. They're on their way to the quarter-finals. That's the upshot of this victory. But possible 3 matches away from an All-Ireland. Great performance this. Cork have been wretched, however. Has to be put into context, but they've made Cork look wretched. It's keep ball time. Donegal Walsh can do as they will. It's a case of who hasn't scored yet. Well, he certainly has. That is a 10th for James O'Donoghue. 2 of them have been from frees, the rest from open play, and he has simply demolished what Cork defence there was today.
I'd love to see the lads tonight when we're doing the programme to look at the number of passes that Kerry strung together before eventually the space was found for O'Donoghue to put that ball over the bar. That was a wonderful team score.
Kieran O'Leary and Barry John Keane have just come on. Kerry are emptying the bench. They know the score. And Cork have made one more change. And Tomas Clancy has come on for them.
There's I should say Declan O'Sullivan involved, but he's been marvellous as an orchestrator of moves today and playing in a much more defensive position than I've seen him in a long time.
Kerrigan. They're looking for something right at the very end of this match. He's got nothing. A real bustling performance by Paul Kerrigan. He was looking for a goal there just to try and put a better complexion on what is a miserable scoreline from a Cork point of view. When Cork and Kerry met in the first ever Munster final at Páirc in 1976, it finished 10 points apiece. Kerry won the replay. Here in this last one, it's just a question of Kerry by how many. Once again, Fintan Gould. Fed forward as far as Damien Cahalan. Bounces off the shoulder of Fionn Fitzgerald, in as far as Colm O'Driscoll. The other one's gone wide. For the record, that's a 5th wide by Cork, 8 by Kerry, but then they have that very sizable 24 points lead. This was a brilliant piece of fielding here by Brian Kelly a little while ago. He's been a star, and then got his hands to that one, deflected it, and was fortunate that it fell to a Kerry defender at the end.
First one was particularly admirable, the way he got up over Mark O'Shea. Very good piece of anticipation.
Paul Kerrigan. You can be sure that Brian Kelly will want to keep his goal intact. Kerry have kept everything intact. This time, free kick awarded to Cork, which is taken quickly, and down went John Hayes. He wants to take it quickly, but not going to be allowed. Another 6 minutes to go. Brian Hurley with 2 pointed frees in this match. Question will be asked afterwards, just how good are Kerry, because Cork have made them look absolutely brilliant.
Well, there's no doubt about it from midfield up, Jared. They're quite formidable. I'm not so sure about the defence. I'd like to see them put under more pressure.
Another one for Brian Hurley. And Kieran Donaghy has just come on. Well, when you can bring on the likes of Kieran O'Leary, Darren O'Sullivan, Kieran Donaghy, Peter Crowley, my goodness, there's some bench. If they can get it right defensively, and we haven't seen them put on sufficient pressure today by Cork to be able to be absolutely certain that they have got the backs right, there's going to be some team. That's kicked in there by Damien Cahalan, but the last 3 kicks by Cork have been very wayward. Everybody just doing their best at this stage just to try and get something out of it. It's been a very bad day for Cork football. Really a very, very poor performance.
Yeah, and extraordinarily, Jared, they started so well in the first 5 minutes of the game. I thought it was going to be a cracker of a match, but once the Kerry midfield pairing got a grip in that sector and got sufficient ammunition through to the forward line, the result was inevitable after that.
Even when the breaks don't work for Cork at midfield and they can't fetch properly, it's picked up by somebody with a green and gold shirt on, and it falls to Declan O'Sullivan eventually. Into Donaghy, laying it off here as far as the flying Darren O'Sullivan. He'll fancy a goal here. He's not going to get it. Put it wide. Really good chance. Such pace.
Yeah, nice little assist that time from Kieran Donaghy. Just Darren O'Sullivan's space is still devastating. These own Cadigan in his wake. Goes for the near side, tries to chip it. Maybe was better off to drill it hard and low.
And some of the Cork players are telling me that there's a lady in Bishopstown called Mary Fahy who's 80 today, and she was hoping to celebrate with a Cork victory. It's not going to be. Mark Collins back as well as far as Donaghy. And another wave of Kerry forward play just begins. Like the hurricane season, it's coming with great regularity. Peter Crowley. That one really is a very loose ball kicked away as far as James Lockery. 3.5 minutes left on the clock. Mark Collins. 2 against 2 in there, broken down. John Hayes was coming forward. Final shot there. Goes unrewarded. And it breaks out as far as Paul Murphy. Kieran Donaghy. Nobody on him. Mark O'Shea certainly has enjoyed this one. He's played in some thrilling Munster matches against Cork, but this hasn't been one of them. James O'Donoghue, star of the show. Kieran Donaghy, the star himself. David Moran, quick look up. Inside towards Barry John Keane. He fancies a score. And the breeze not doing him any great deal of good there. Dragging it to the left-hand side.
Yeah, but if Kerry want to be patient, there's no better team than be patient. The way they can just hold on to the ball until somebody gets into a right position. If they want to play long ball, they can do it with aplomb. Some of their foot passing has been exemplary in this game. But just I remember in the first half, Jeremy talked about the absence of support in the Kerry attack. Once they got a grip at that particular aspect of the game, they've just been devastating.
Linesman Eddie Kinsella just ran in there to the referee to see how much time is going to be added on at the end of it. It's all going to be immaterial, I think, when you look at that scoreline. That was kicked by John Hayes there off Peter Crowley, so it's going to be a free kick for Cork, 13 metres nearer. Colm O'Neill, who has had 3 cruciate injuries, good to see him back there, and in the end it's helped over the bar by the hand of Brian Hurley. Hurley's got 4. That's his only point from open play. Helped in by Daniel Goulding. Touched over the bar by Hurley. Good work by the 22-year-old from Castlehaven. But Kieran O'Sullivan there alongside Brian Cuthbert. Some thinking to do, some work to do. The qualifiers coming up now for them.
Trying to resurrect their team after the display they've given today is going to be a major problem for Cork.
And bear in mind there was a very poor display as well, Martin, against Tipperary in the semi-final, so it shouldn't come as an absolute shock to people. But what will? This is Kieran Donaghy down. It seems to have all gone kind of wrong for Cork ever since that turnaround against Dublin in the league semi-final. A 17-point turnaround that afternoon. That was a high elbow.
Yeah, Declan O'Sullivan, he caught the elbow right on the chin that time. That is a bad tackle. That's a bad tackle. That's a dangerous tackle.
Referee has consulted with his linesman. And now there's a row breaking out down near the D. And Cormac Riley has to go down and intervene. Yes, it's been very frustrating for Cork. They're very frustrating for their supporters as well, I'm sure, watching it. And thankfully it doesn't develop. But right now the referee is going to bring across the man who came on as a sub, John Hayes, and he gets a red card for that. He can't really have any great complaints.
Can't have any complaints. He realised himself when he did it that he had done something wrong in the way he gestured. He knew he had done something wrong, but that was a dangerous tackle.
So we've played 20 seconds of the added time, and now it's just a matter of waiting for that final whistle. Kerry by double scores, and now there's another little bit of work to do here with Shane Enright and his marker Brian Hurley both being shown yellow cards. But a thoroughly satisfying afternoon for Kerry. They will be highly pleased with their overall performance. They did all they had to do. And now just a few more seconds to play here. Jamie O'Sullivan goes back to rescues this one, and the referee blows his final whistle, and Kerry have retained the Munster Cup. 4th win in 5 years in Munster for them. They come to Cork's backyard and they emerge as Munster winners for the 76th time. It's a resounding win for Eamon Fitzmaurice and his squad. A quarter-final now short for them. Cork must dust themselves down after a miserable performance here, and they must prepare for the qualifiers, where they will be fancy themselves anyway, to finally make it to the last 8, but they have work to do to ensure that. But a great day for Anthony Marr, for Kerry, and overall absolutely thoroughly convincing winners, Martin.
Yeah, I think the foundation was set between the 7th and the 28th minute when the score outscored Cork 10 points to 0. From that point on, there's only one result.
Final score, it's Kerry 24 points, Cork 12. Well, the crowd coming on here, you were saying that there was a spell in that game there where they just took over the absolute dominance of the game, and there was no Cork response, really.
No Cork response, but what I was delighted to see today, so pleasing to see today, was the emergence once again, or the continued development, so to speak, of James O'Donoghue. He was wonderful throughout, but the patience of the outfield players to wait until he had made the right move for them was just a joy to behold. And Paul Ganey also, throughout was also a wonderful foil for him. Declan O'Sullivan's role also as an auxiliary centre-half back was something I hadn't seen before. So tactically, I think Eamon Fitzmaurice has done a few little nuanced things with his team that seems to me to put them in a very strong position as the summer goes on.
From a Cork point of view, conversely, major problems about their back line still. Question marks about whether it is feasible for players like Owen Cadogan, Damien Cahalane and Aidan Walsh to perform at their very, very best when it comes to the crunch in major finals now.
Fully agree with you on that, Ger. I thought Aidan Walsh, Cadogan and Damien Cahalane today struggled with the pace of the game and struggled with the different skill sets of the game. But I thought the movement of the Kerry team in particular ran through Aidan Walsh again and again, even though Walsh had a very good start to it. But the two lads at the back, Cadogan was extremely loose. Cahalane was destroyed in particular in the first half, and Buckley moved over him at left half when he went out to left half forward. But overall, those three guys, I think, ought to concentrate on the hurling.
it was good to see from a Kerry point of view players who have sustained injuries like Brian Sheehan down there and Killian Young, two men embracing one another right now. They have battled really hard to get back into a Munster final to represent their county, the famous county, the most famed county of all in Gaelic football really, and to do so well today. Sheehan with 4 points really played a starring role. I remember one particular fetch he made in the second half here, but James O'Donoghue, his performance was bewilderingly good. 10 points, an amazing, stunning performance. Aidan O'Mahony gets another winner's medal. It's his 7th time. So final score here, 24 points to 12. Kerry well and truly the winners, Dara.
Munster title number 76 for Kerry. I don't know, Colin and Kieran, where you start talking about that. A stunning performance from Kerry.
It certainly was. It was an annihilation. It wasn't a game at all. And, you know, if you look at it from the Kerry point of view, it was a fantastic team performance. And I think what Eamon Fitzmaurice has done is introduced a few new forwards like Paul Ganey and Stephen O'Brien, and James O'Donoghue became the real man today in the absence of the Gooch. He's reinvented Declan O'Sullivan and Brian Sheehan and Aidan O'Mahony and Mark O'Shea to a certain extent and re-energised those. But the other side of the thing, of course, is the total collapse and the spineless performance by Cork. And I would stress that that is the correct word for it, because in this historic stadium, and it'd been knocked down, you would think that the Cork players would come out with passion and with great energy in their blood to make sure that they signed off on a very high note. Instead of that, they did exactly the opposite. It really questions, you know, a lot of these Cork players going forward, and the boys drew attention to the dual player role. I think that is a serious question, but I think Kerry have announced themselves as a serious contender. So if you have backed Dublin for the All-Ireland, there's no need to form an orderly queue at the payout window in the bookies just yet.
I never bet on anything. A lot of things you said there, Colin, which are very striking. The one word that jumps out at me is spineless, and that Kieran, your thoughts on that description of Cork? Those two words don't go together.
And I can't disagree with Colin. They lacked fight, they lacked spirit. They came out the start of the second half. They looked like they were going to play for about 3 or 4 minutes. They showed a bit of intensity, but they were beaten all over the pitch. I think you have to hand it to Eamon Fitzmaurice tactically. They were so dominant right throughout the pitch. You've also got to question, you know, a lot of us, and even us pundits, we call this one wrong, but a lot of the theories of Cork being refreshed based on league form and how we analyse league form. We look at Derry are gone out of the championship. We look at that flat performance by Cork today. They were flying high in April. So Fitzmaurice has got a good knack of getting his team right to peak at the right time. Like the likes of Declan O'Sullivan, held them back in the league, didn't play a whole lot of football, realised his miles on the clock, and he instrumented everything today around the middle of the park and set up a lot of attacks. So
but you can't beat forwards that take on their men.
Yeah,
like
and
James O'Donoghue attacked
they ripped them to shreds.
Paul Ganey, all he wanted to do was get the ball and go at his man. Cork had nobody like that. And I would say the Cork supporters who came here today and the Cork people sitting at home would be absolutely disgusted with the level of performance of their own team. And I know they're amateur players, and we have to be careful not to be overly critical, but if I was a Cork person or a Cork player today, I'd be going away and hiding for a week.
And look, we made this point at half time, you know, with the Kerry goal chances in the first half, that things could have been worse. Like 24 points to 12 is terrible for Cork, and second half it could have been worse again.
Oh yeah, well we see a shot here. James O'Donoghue, only one thing on his mind is get the ball and head straight for the goal. And of course then, every time they find themselves in a tight corner, they seem to have very, very quick hands to lay the ball off. And Stephen O'Brien there should have put it in the net.
Probably should have put it across to Buckley, who would have patted it. Look where Buckley is here, you know, hand pass across the goal.
Fast feet, fast hands in a tight situation where Cork were cumbersome, laboured, slow, and a bit rudderless, passionless. Everything you would expect Cork to go out today and to be sort of lifting all in front of them. And instead of that, they were flat.
They gave up as well. They gave up defensively with 20 minutes to go.
Gentlemen, thanks very much indeed. We are out of time from Páirc Chaoimh. We're heading to Croke Park with the news that Kerry are Munster champions for the 76th time. Such a convincing performance and such a convincing victory over Cork. Michael Lester.
All right, Dara, now you leave that place tidy down there. We're heading to Cork next weekend again for the Munster hurling final. But now, though, back here at Croke Park, we are looking forward to today's Leinster hurling final. And we've already had one winner here today at headquarters, because Kilkenny have won the minor title with, you have to say, a comfortable victory over Dublin. The Cats stretched ahead in that match all the way through. Wasn't as much in it as it might have looked in the end, but they did eventually win on a scoreline of 2 goals and 19 points to 10 points. A proud Kilkenny captain there, Dara Joyce from Rower Inistioge, accepting the cup. So will it be a double for Kilkenny with victory in today's senior final? Well, that's the big question, and we will have all of the action live after this break.